Have you ever had that feeling, that sense there's something deeper connecting all the world's spiritual traditions, like a hidden current maybe?
That underlying thread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A unifying wisdom beneath the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we're diving into today, Theosophy.
Right.
But not looking at it as some kind of new religion, but exploring it as, well, perhaps this ancient wisdom itself. And specifically, how H.P. Blavatsky's perspective really shines a light on this perennial truth.
Yeah, her articulation of it is key.
So our goal here is to kind of give you a shortcut, a way into understanding Theosophy's core ideas straight from the viewpoint of someone immersed in it, a true theosophist.
Okay.
We'll touch on its history, its really ambitious mission to bring faiths together and clear up some common misunderstandings. Think of it as getting direct access to the insights Blavatsky was trying to share.
And to do that, we're primarily drawing on H.P. Blavatsky's own work, mostly from the Key to Theosophy. We're using that as our main guide, really, letting her explain it in her own way.
Perfect. So if you're out there seeking truth, or maybe you're already connected to Theosophy and want to go deeper, this should really help clarify those unifying principles and Blavatsky's, frankly, huge role in bringing this wisdom forward. Okay, let's get started.
Let's do it.
First off, this basic confusion. Theosophy often gets labeled a religion, but Blavatsky insists it's presented as divine knowledge or science.
Right. That distinction is fundamental.
She describes it as this profound science of the septenary constitution of both the cosmos and man and the laws of karma and cycles. That sounds pretty massive.
Mm-hmm.
What does septenary constitution even mean in simple terms?
Well, think of it like layers, 7 layers or dimensions to everything, not just the physical stuff we see, but subtler levels too.
Okay, like layers of reality.
Exactly, both for the universe as a whole, the cosmos, and for us as individuals. Everything, from the biggest scale down to us, is seen as having this 7-fold structure. It implies this deep interconnection, a consistent order.
That definitely helps visualize it. So this term divine knowledge, Theosophy, does the word itself tell us something?
Oh, absolutely. Theosophy is Greek. It means divine wisdom or wisdom of the gods.
Of the gods, plural.
Yes, and that's a key point. It's different from the modern idea of wisdom of God, singular. In the Greek context, theos referred to divine beings, hierarchies of intelligence. Think of them as the forces shaping the cosmos.
So not the ultimate source itself.
No, not the absolute unknowable reality that Theosophy calls titeti, the rootless root beyond everything. The theoi are more like the cosmic architects or administrators. In Eastern thought, they might be called Dian Shohan.
Johans, like angelic beings or cosmic forces.
Precisely, yeah. The intelligent forces, the divine builders operating under universal laws. And while this wisdom is seen as timeless, the term Theosophy got picked up historically in Alexandria around the 3rd century.
Alexandria, right, the melting pot.
Exactly. By thinkers called the Philaletheians, lovers of truth, led by a fascinating figure, Ammonius Saccas.
And Ammonius, what was his aim with this system he developed?
He set up what was called the eclectic theosophical system. His main goal wasn't just philosophical speculation. It was about instilling deep moral truths.
Ethics as the foundation.
Absolutely indispensable. He saw ethics as the necessary groundwork for receiving any real spiritual wisdom. And that spirit lives on, in the modern Theosophical Society's motto, there is no religion higher than truth.
No religion higher than truth. That's powerful.
It's not just a slogan. It points to the idea that living ethically is the gateway to understanding deeper realities.
Which leads us straight into Theosophy's really grand vision, its unifying mission, this idea that both the ancient and modern movement aim to reconcile all religions, all sects, all nations.
It's incredibly ambitious.
Under a common system of ethics based on these eternal truths. It sounds almost utopian, but beautiful.
It is. And the justification, Blavatsky argues, comes from looking closely at world religions side by side.
Comparative religion reveals something.
It reveals, she says, a shared esoteric core. The idea is that way back, there was one single wisdom religion, and you can see the proof in the identical doctrines taught secretly in the mysteries all over the ancient world.
The mysteries, like Eleusis?
Yes, exactly. Places like that taught initiates about cosmogony, how the universe came to be, about these Dian Chohans or divine hierarchies, cosmic cycles, the soul's evolution alongside its physical forms. All very consistent.
So there's a pattern underneath.
A definite pattern. As the eclectic philosophers put it, the key that is to open one must open all. Otherwise, it cannot be the right key.
Wow, a master key. That makes sense of why Alexandria was the place for Ammonius to try this, with all those different philosophies mingling Buddhist, Vedantic, Magian, Greek.
It was the perfect laboratory. And his followers, the Neoplatonists, came from all sorts of religious backgrounds, just like the Theosophical Society today. It's not the first time people tried this kind of synthesis.
Others tried before.
Oh, yes. History shows figures like Aristobulus finding Aristotle in Moses' Law, or Philo-Judaeus linking the Pentateuch with Pythagoras and Plato. Josephus connected the Essenes to Egyptian groups. It's an old impulse, this search for the common esoteric thread.
So modern Theosophy is really continuing that work.
Exactly, showing that every religion, every sect, ultimately branches off from that same ancient trunk, the wisdom religion.
Right.
Ammonius's big push was to get these different groups, Gentiles, Christians, Jews, to stop fighting and see they shared the same core truth, just dressed up in different allegories.
Children of the same mother, as Blavatsky put it.
Yes, the one divine truth. And that core idea rooted in universal brotherhood is still absolutely central for Theosophy now.
Okay, let's focus on Ammonius Saccas again. His take on the figure of Christ, or the Christos, is really distinctive, isn't it? Mosheim, the historian, said Ammonius taught that popular religions got, well, cluttered.
Cluttered, yeah.
Corrupted by human ideas, superstition.
And they needed purifying, bringing back to their philosophical roots. Precisely. And here's where the connection to modern Theosophy is so strong. Ammonius believed Christ's whole mission was about restoring that ancient wisdom, cutting through the superstitions, fixing the errors that had crept in.
And that's the theosophical view, too.
It's exactly the position. For Theosophists, Christos isn't just one historical person. It's more fundamentally the divine principle within us.
The inner potential.
Yes, the higher self, what they term Atma Buddhimanas. That's the real savior for every person. It's an internal reality, not just an external figure.
That's a huge shift in perspective for many listeners, I imagine. Empowering, really. But here's the strange thing. Ammonius actually got support from early church figures, even rabbis.
Right. Figures like Clement and Athenagoras saw value in his unifying work.
Yet, modern theosophists often face pushback, misunderstanding. It seems odd that there was maybe more tolerance for this kind of thinking back then than in our supposedly enlightened times.
It is a stark contrast, isn't it? And Ammonius wasn't teaching what later became Orthodox Christianity. He was Christian-born, yes, but rejected the dogmas.
His sources were older.
Much older. Hermes, Plato, Pythagoras, those were his pillars. He saw echoes of this ancient wisdom in St. John's Gospel, the prologue especially, and felt Jesus' aim was to bring that universal truth back to light.
So when he looked at Bible stories or myths, he saw
allegories, deep cosmic and spiritual truths hidden in symbolic stories. Or, if taken literally, he saw them as just fables that wise people should look beyond.
The Edinburgh Encyclopedia even noted he saw Jesus as an excellent man, but his goal was purifying the old ways, not junking them.
Exactly. Purify, restore, reveal the core wisdom. That's the key theosophical idea running through this.
Okay, so if this wisdom was so important, but people like Ammonius, Buddha, Pythagoras, even Jesus didn't write things down themselves, how did it survive? How was it preserved?
That's crucial. It survived through initiated disciples. People like Origen, Plotinus, Longinus, they wrote extensively, capturing at least the public face, the exoteric side of Ammonius's Philaletheian system.
Exoteric and esoteric, public and secret teachings.
Yes, this dual system was standard practice for protecting sacred knowledge. You see it everywhere, the Greek mysteries like Eleusis, the Egyptian Hierophants, Indian Brahmins, the Jewish Kabbalists, they all had inner secret teachings for initiates.
But why all the secrecy? It sounds a bit, I don't know, elitist or conspiratorial to modern ears.
Blavatsky gives two really strong reasons. First, simple human nature. Meaning that average human nature, with its selfishness and potential for harm, couldn't be trusted with powerful divine secrets. They'd inevitably be misused for personal gain, maybe even harmful, ends what gets called sorcery or black magic.
Like giving advanced weapons technology to someone unstable.
Exactly that kind of principle. You have to safeguard powerful knowledge.
Okay, that makes sense. And the second reason?
The second is about how people understand things. The masses, often tending towards literal interpretations, will likely desecrate profound spiritual truths. They'd twist them into crude human-like images, basically superstition and idolatry.
Reducing the sublime to the mundane.
Precisely. Blavatsky uses the analogy, you don't lecture sheep on botany, you give them grass. Pythagoras called his deep knowledge gnosis and shared it only with disciples sworn to secrecy.
And we see this layered approach even with Christ, right? Speaking in parables to the crowds.
But explaining the deeper meanings only to his inner circle, he explicitly says, "To you it is given to know the mysteries, but to those outside, everything is said in parables." Mark 4.11.
And the Essenes had levels too.
Yes, neophytes, brethren, and the perfect or initiated. Knowledge was shared based on readiness and worthiness. It wasn't about exclusion for its own sake, but about appropriate transmission.
Right. Now let's clear up another big misunderstanding. How do you get this secret wisdom? Webster's dictionary had this definition of theosophy involving supposed intercourse with God by physical means and chemical processes.
Oh, that old definition, yeah. Well, Blavatsky called it absurd and materialistic.
And it does sound bizarre. How could physical chemistry lead to divine knowledge?
It couldn't, not directly. Maybe if the definition had said metaphysical and alchemical processes, understanding alchemy in its true sense.
Alchemy is inner transformation.
Yes, the transmutation of the lower self into the higher spiritual self. That would be closer. But the core theosophical idea is that the infinite can't be grasped by our finite physical senses.
So how do you access it?
Direct knowledge comes through the higher spiritual self, often in a state referred to as ecstasy.
Ecstasy. But not like fainting or a trance, presumably.
Yeah. No, not at all passive. It's described as a sublime state. Plotinus, the great Neoplatonist, defined it as the mind breaking free from its finite limits, becoming one with the infinite.
Like Samadhi in India.
Exactly the same state. A direct conscious union with the universal consciousness.
Wow.
But it's rare, very rare.
And how does one even approach that?
It requires immense effort. Physically, extreme purity of life, avoiding anything that dulls the senses or the subtler bodies. Mentally and spiritually, it requires a constant burning effort to purify and elevate the mind.
So conscious living, discipline.
And meditation is central, but not just asking for things. Plato described it beautifully.
Oh yes, the ardent turning of the soul toward the divine. Not for any particular good, but for good itself, for the universal supreme good.
That's the one. It's about aspiring towards the highest, silencing the ego's demands. Plato also advised remaining silent before the divine until it clears your vision so you see true good, not just what seems good to you.
It sounds like a lifelong, dedicated practice.
It is. And this highlights why theosophy isn't some new invention. Its core is ancient. If it seems obscure today, it's partly because modern culture drifted towards dogma on one side and pure materialism on the other.
Losing spiritual insight.
Right. But mainly it's obscure because the real deal, the Gupta Vidya, the secret knowledge, was always kept hidden, reserved for those who proved themselves ready through discipline and selfless dedication.
Okay, another label we need to unpack. Esoteric Buddhists. Theosophists often get called that, but you're saying it's mostly wrong.
It's largely a misnomer, yes. I mean, some Theosophists are Buddhist, absolutely, but many others come from Hindu backgrounds or Christian or Jewish or others. It's not tied to one religion.
So where did esoteric Buddhist come from?
It mainly came from the title of a very influential book by A.P. Sinnett, Esoteric Buddhism. Blavatsky later clarified that it really should have been spelled Buddhism with one D.
Buddhism. What's the difference?
Buddhism with one D comes from the Sanskrit root bodha, or bodhi, which means intelligence, knowledge, or wisdom. So Sinnett intended it to mean wisdomism, essentially.
Ah, so wisdomism, not the religion founded by Gautama Buddha.
Exactly. Think of Buddhism theosophy as the universal wisdom itself, the source code, if you like. And historical Buddhism is one specific, albeit profound, expression of that wisdom given by Gautama. Theosophy claims to be the source of all religions.
So it's like the difference between Christ's inner teachings, the mysteries of the kingdom, and the later church doctrines and rituals.
That's a very good parallel. The title Buddha itself means the enlightened one, enlightened by this bodha, or wisdom. It relates to the awakened spiritual intelligence, the Buddhi principle.
And Gautama taught this deeper wisdom secretly.
Theosophy maintains he did, just like other great teachers, to his initiated arhats, his advanced disciples. Blavatsky pushed back hard against scholars of her time who claimed Buddha had no esoteric teachings, saying they simply didn't understand the ancient tradition of initiation.
Okay, but there is common ground ethically, right? Compassion, selflessness.
Oh, absolutely. The ethics are identical because they are the ethics of the universal wisdom religion. Buddha's genius was making these high ethics the core of his public teaching for everyone.
That clarifies things. But then there's the distinction between theosophy and, say, mainstream exoteric Buddhism.
Yes, particularly the Southern school, like in Thailand. It's often portrayed, sometimes accurately for its exoteric side, as denying a personal God or even conscious survival after death.
Which seems contradictory to Theosophy.
It is. Regarding the exoteric teachings, Theosophy understands why Buddha might have been publicly reticent on deep metaphysics. But the northern Buddhist traditions, which Theosophy says were founded by initiated arhats, do preserve the esoteric side.
And they teach.
All the core theosophical ideas. The absolute reality, the Dian Chohans, the sevenfold constitution, karma, reincarnation, the conscious survival of the spiritual ego.
So Blavatsky saw the Southern school as having lost some of the original depth.
As having sacrificed the truth to the dead letter in some respects, yes, though she still admired its ethical purity compared to other exoteric faiths. But the key point is, Theosophy isn't Buddhism. It's the ancient wellspring from which the esoteric core of Buddhism and all other great religions originally flowed.
Wow. We have covered a huge amount of ground here. From Theosophy's ancient roots and its mission to unite,
To its unique view of the Christos within.
the reasons for keeping wisdom secret, the demanding path to knowledge.
And sorting out that confusion with Buddhism, it's a lot to take in.
It really is. What stands out is how Blavatsky positioned Theosophy not as something new, but as this ancient perennial wisdom underlying everything.
Exactly. A path back to divine knowledge, but one demanding real commitment, self-purification, discipline, both mental and spiritual. It's about recovering something vital.
So for everyone listening, maybe take a moment to think. How does this idea of a universal underlying esoteric truth change how you see spirituality? Does the concept of one ancient wisdom religion resonate with your own search, or does it challenge it?
That's the question.
And remember the quote, "The key that is to open one must open all." What might that key unlock for you? Something to definitely ponder further.